All right, so you guys are pros. Everybody's staying muted and look great. It's all going to be cool. So we're about 3 minutes and some change till we go. I'm going to leave after just letting Ryan just be looking for Laura's cue in the chat stream, and then make sure to unmute before you go ahead. There you are. And then you just have a good show. Thank you all very much.
Randy, there's still one person that was here earlier that's not here now. There's nobody in the waiting room or anything, is there?
No, ma'am. I'm watching that like a hawk. I don't see anybody right now. Who are we looking for? Stephanie?
Yep.
Okay. I'll make sure to be watching for that, but I don't see anybody currently. And I can chat you when I see them.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, 1 minute. Thank you, 1 minute. Yeah, I'm not there yet. Do you want to come in here a little more?
I'm okay here.
So we're not leaning in? No?
Okay here. Everybody's hearing it. Hello, everybody. I think we should be mute. Because you're the first time.
I'm the first one, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Is it cocktail time yet?
We should see Laura's cue anytime now.
I've got a bottle of vodka just waiting to have something done to it. Yes, a world of possibilities. You've got this, Victoria. Come on.
I need to close it.
You too, Allie.
I need to close
You
it.
guys are rocking. That's right. We're just going to chat. Oh, yeah, hurry. It's almost done with credits. Yeah, I think the same thing, Liz. Like I'm getting that little whoo, people, but not really people. Exactly.
I'm just reading right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our post-concert chat. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. It's a beautiful afternoon in Austin, Texas, and wherever you might be, we appreciate you sharing your time with us as we bring Southwest Voices She Sings to life. I'm joined today by a number of the composers and performers you just heard from. Looking around my screen here, just a quick introduction of everybody, and then I'll ask some questions. If you have questions of me or any of these people, you can type them there into the chat in the OVEE window. So please use that. Our moderators will take a look at those, and we'll have some time at the end to answer any questions that you might have. So just looking around my Zoom screen here, we have the wonderful and talented Carla Mcelhaney, who was our pianist for this event. I'm so delighted that we got to collaborate and work together once again, even in these wild times. We have one of our Chorus Austin singers, Victoria Tijerina, is with us. Victoria sings alto in our symphonic choir, and is going to share a little bit about the kind of the process that we went through for this today. Sitting next to me is one of the composers you heard from, and for anybody who doesn't know, my husband, Carlos Cordero.
Mm-hmm.
We also have the gloriously talented Liz Cass, beloved mezzo-soprano here in Austin. Many of you have heard her here and around. So she brought the three songs of Fearless Women to life in such a powerful and vibrant way. The composer of those songs is also with us, Stephanie Andrews, who many of you know is also a member of the Chorus Austin family, as well as the choral scene here in Central Texas. And then a face that's probably new to many of you, but not for much longer, is composer Ali Sizowitz. And Ali participated with us in the first ever Happy Composer project, which was led by Carlos. And that's a project that pairs young composers with organizations to create a newly commissioned piece and then to share that piece with the world. So Ali wrote I Will for this Southwest Voices concert that would have been at the end of last season, of course, before the shutdown. So we had to sit tight for a year. But I'm so delighted that Ali is kind of a part of that inaugural class of composers from the Happy Composer Project. And as you heard, is writing such wonderful and timely music. So these are the people that we're sharing our time with today. And I thank all of you for being here in this post-concert talkback. So I'm going to start with Victoria, our singer, and just kind of ask Victoria, about singing in the ensemble. What was it like to prepare and record these pieces? Is there something that stood out as a particularly meaningful moment for you, or challenging, or can you just share a little bit about the process with us?
Yes. So for several weeks, we were all getting together on Zoom on Mondays, and we would have a little bit of, time to talk with one another and, fellowship, and then we would start working. And so since, on Zoom, you can't really unmute and sing, everybody would be kind of like score setting and singing along while Ryan was playing the music through Zoom. And so for several weeks, it was just kind of like, okay, singing my part. I hope I'm doing it right. Hope I'm doing everything that I need to, because you can't really tell because you're at home. I know that the first time that we got together at Redeemer Presbyterian where we recorded, I got goosebumps the first time we all sang together. It was amazing. It was just like, wow, I haven't sang in an ensemble in so long. And so we started with no time. And the minute we started doing that, it was just like, whew, a lot of emotions, just great feeling just to be, in unison with all these lovely women who are singing together and just, cherishing that moment in the present and just kind of living in that space. It was lovely.
Here, here. And you mentioned, not having sung in a live ensemble, obviously, for quite a long time. Were you noticing recalibration happening, as we were getting going? Was it challenging, or did you find it kind of easy to go into the groove to sing with these voices that you had never sung with before?
I would say it was a little challenging at first. Like once we started, it was both. It was a little like, wow, we all just kind of fit together really well, as if we've been practicing together, but we haven't. And then there were moments though where it was a little challenging because, I know for me personally, I was like, oh, I'm kind of over singing. I need to back off. It's just because you're so used to singing it by yourself, in front of your computer for many Mondays in a row. So when you're with other people, you have to kind of readjust and go, okay, there's another voice part right next to me and another voice part over here, and I need to balance and make those colors kind of shine together instead of just stick out.
Absolutely, well said. And I was typing in the chat during the concert, but the fact that so much of that, all of it, was created with the singers masked was certainly a remarkable undertaking. And to have such colors in the tone, to have such clear articulation, right, must have been an added layer of work for everyone, but something that everyone seemed to be committed to and to get right to the heart of, to bring this music to life. Excellent. Thank you, Victoria. All right, we're going to bounce to Allie next. And Allie, for those who don't know, you didn't write only the music for your piece, you also wrote the text. So I'm curious, what drew you to writing the piece in this manner? And why was it important for you to include text in Polish as part of the piece?
Yes, so you're completely correct. I wrote the music and the text. And well, first off, I want to say I loved being a part of the Happy Composer Project. I know, I just want to mention that because Carlos, it was amazing working with you. And side note, when I told my husband that I got selected to be one of these composers, he just said, "It's the perfect project for you. You're a happy composer too." So I just love that so much, and it was just a great experience. So moving forward with that, then I thought, you encouraged me, Carlos, in the sense that I could write this music, and then also why not? I said maybe I should write the text, and you were like, go for it. And so that felt so inspiring and really, really awesome. And so then I felt like, well, I might as well just go off of what I was feeling in those moments and what I thought that other women would be able to maybe connect with and sing. And the women did an absolutely beautiful job. I did get goosebumps and chills just sitting at home listening to the piece being performed. The world premiere, how crazy is that? And who would have thought, right? Like you were saying, with the masks and everything, it still had so much meaning to me. So as far as the Polish goes, I'm Polish, and I just love getting to share the sort of uniqueness that the Polish language brings, because as I'm sure you could tell, it's not necessarily like a lot of other languages, and so it's unique in that sense. And I feel like most people don't necessarily ever really speak Polish or sing in Polish. So why not incorporate that also? And then it just kind of is an opportunity, I feel like, in this piece, especially to sort of come outside of the text alone and just sort of embrace the music and the singing, sort of that repetition and just kind of, coming together in that. And the ladies did a wonderful job. I can't get over it. This sounds like Polish. It's amazing.
That's excellent. Thank you, Allie. And I just want to take this moment to remind everybody, if you have a question for me, for any of us, throw it into the chat there in OVEE, and our moderators will be sure that we see it. So let's stay in this composer vein, and I'm going to ask some questions of this man next to me. As some of you know, Carlos has a particular love of writing for soprano alto voices. And I just want to ask him why. What is it about those voices that you find resonates with you?
You know, it's so interesting because also I don't know if to talk to you or talk here, but I just talk here. It is interesting for me because it is connected to the biggest influences that I've had in my life, right? That is mostly women, my family, my friends, they have praised me and taught me so much that it feels like a tribute to it. But also, I was just thinking that I said once, and I totally commit to this, that you know, as in medicine, for example, people go and specialize into very specific things. So I've always said, if I could specialize into writing for women choir, that would be just the dream because I feel so connected to it. It feels that it comes natural to me. I don't know if you know, hopefully that's perceived, but I just have so much fun doing it. And fun, it's many things. Expressing through through women chorus because not only I get to write to amazing people like chorus. I think we just saw this whole concert, a whole bunch of emotions, a whole bunch of great music, but we get to just connect in another way. So I don't know, it's just something that I feel connected in a more than a crawl way, if that makes sense.
I think it does. And for anyone who doesn't know, back in the 2019-2020 season, Carlos was Chorus Austin's composer in residence. So we were doing several premieres of his throughout the course of that season. And so On Pain and Love was actually written back in 2019 for the concert that was originally scheduled for the spring of 2020. And my question to Carlos about that is, once the concert had to be put on the table, were you tempted at all in this last year to like revisit the score, make some changes, kind of think, maybe I should revisit some of these things, or not at all, to just kind of leave it alone and say, that's done?
So it is one of kind of my philosophies to try to leave the piece as it was, because it's a print or it's a snapshot of who you were in that time, during the time that you wrote that piece. The only one thing that I changed was a typo that I had in the score, because one of the singers told me like, "Hey, this last name is not spelled like this," and you realize that being you the one who sees the score so much, of course, so many things are going to you're going to miss so much. But the music I wanted to leave as it was, because we constantly change, and we're going to find things that we're going to think like, oh, I probably would have done this differently, or maybe I could include this. Although I love these pieces as they are, and I'm so glad how they came to life, because it's just perfect. Thank you, Corsasu. But it's just a snapshot of who I was when I wrote it. So I just like to preserve that and to respect that person that did those pieces. It's weird to talk to me about myself in that way.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. I'm going to jump up to Carla next. She's up to me on my Zoom screen here. And Carla, of course, we know you as a wonderful collaborator, an incredible collaborative pianist and soloist in your own right as well. And I'm curious how this process in putting this concert together was different for you, because we were so removed. You and I had a rehearsal and then just the recording itself. So what, in terms of the journey and actually co-creating this music, was different than other ventures that you've had?
I love that question. And first I'll just get the whole damn mask thing out of the way. That's one thing. But and to tie that in though to what Carlos just said about connection, feeling connection. So in some ways, it's not different than any other concert, even though there were these particular distance issues, sound issues. A pianist always has to walk in and just deal with what is. So we're and singers too. I mean, well, all of us really, but you just walk into the space, you got what you got that day and you deal with it. But what I love, Ryan, in working with you, that came through for me, that connection, because we were all there. We felt awkward for a minute. We had to like, oh, for the camera, it has to be this way. Oh, the mask. Oh, this is also weird. Oh, it's swimmy. I can't hear. But then we connected on a spirit level. We connected, you and I, you were already in connection with the singers, they were in connection with each other, and it just goes out into the world. It's just so, it's transcendent. I love it. I love it. I love it. Can't get enough. Anyway, that's how I experienced the whole thing.
I love it. I love it. Were there any particular moments that stand out to you as extra meaningful or special?
Yeah. The drums in Santo. Basically I was rehearsing, I could sit out for that and watch that. And I was like, Danielle. So that
Yeah.
was one moment. We all got to do multiple takes and rehearsal during that day of this. And so I would say overall, one thing that I noticed was that we all got into a place where we were not aware anymore that we were recording with each piece. And I observed that happening each time. I got to go back and say, oh, look, we were just in the moment. And so that hit me on every piece that I participated in.
I love it. Beautifully said, and hopefully, of course, everyone who experienced the concert this afternoon had that same feeling, right? Not aware of the production itself, but of the music that we were creating. I wouldn't expect any less of a beautiful answer than from my dear friend Carla. All right, I'm going to jump now to the creator of the 3 songs, Fearless Women, composer Stephanie Andrews. These pieces are remarkable, first of all, I think we all agree. And you created them in such a short time. For those of the people who don't know, you and I collaborated, right, in choosing some of the texts. I kind of had this idea for a song for solo voice. But then from there, what was your process in creating these powerful songs for this incredible singer?
Well, anytime that I write for voice or for choir, just anything involving the human voice, I always start with the text. It's just kind of my natural process, and also, how I was taught to do it. So, so there's that too. But so I kind of sat down and just read through the text, over and over again, and kind of lived with it for a little while, and thought about where do I want to really emphasize what's going on in the text, and how can I put more meaning into what the text is trying to convey. Like, for instance, the little figure on curl, just curling lips, So let's see. And then what's another example of that? I looked at the score before we were scheduled to do this. I really did. But I really wanted to magnify what the text is trying to convey, and through music. And I feel like Liz did such an incredible, marvelous job of interpreting what I wrote and bringing the music to life. I love the little cute the quotes. That was spectacular. Everything. So thank you, Ryan, for asking me to write the piece, and thank you, Liz, for bringing it to life so beautifully.
Here. Well said. And what a perfect pivot then to Liz Cass, who brought the songs to life for us. And Liz, many of us, especially here in Austin, know you from your wonderful performances on the opera stage and in oratorio with groups like Chorus Austin here in town. How was singing the 3 songs different than those experiences, and what considerations were important to you in bringing both the music and the text to life in a meaningful way for what we knew was going to be a digital audience?
Yeah, well, excellent questions, because this is really so different from any project I've worked on. And singing these pieces a cappella they're very melodically sophisticated and rhythmically sophisticated. So by far the most sophisticated music I've ever sung a cappella. And, you know, I'm noticing a common theme within this conversation of connection, right? If you're standing in a room with people, you know, you almost take it for granted that there's this like immediate connection. So how to present this music in a meaningful way that will connect with others is obviously a big consideration. I actually took advantage of the fact that I didn't have an accompanist to be concerned about finding a space for a piano. So I thought about, oh gosh, maybe I'll record these outside, maybe I'll record them, maybe I'll try to find a really acoustically great space. But I thought, you know, this is talking, this is connecting. I really liked the idea of sitting in a chair and just delivering these messages. And I surrounded myself with some crystals and sage, things that women used to be punished for working with. I had 2 pieces of artwork behind me that were created by female artists, Jean Schuler and Fabiana Rodriguez. So I felt like I had kind of this team of fearless women surrounding me while I tried to communicate as best I could. And you know, that first song is just like, so amazing. They're all so amazing, but you know, we all know this, that our self-worth, we have to find it inside of ourselves. We all know this, and then we forget it. And then we remember and we forget, and we remember, we forget. And the world has a lot of money to be made by trying to convince us that our self-worth comes from the outside. And maybe there are even people in our lives that try to convince us that doing what they want us to do has something to do with our self-worth. And I just love the celebration of this person. She decided where her self-worth was coming from, and she celebrated. So I actually kind of want to, change it from self-worth to self-celebration. And then the second song, you know, I think that like a lot of people and a lot of women, I want to figure out a way that I can help create a scenario where future generations don't have to reinvent the wheel, but there's enough energy there also to move forward. And then the last song, I liked delivering this in kind of a weird sort of like, I don't know, it's a little esoteric, I guess, but I like creating this sort of mood where you're sitting in front of somebody every day on Zoom or like in an office or in a meeting, and all of us have magic inside of us. And all of us have experienced pain, and all of us have been decimated, and all of us have had heartbreak. And we have all at times had to reinvent ourselves and turn ourselves into the fire. So it reminded me that every time you're sitting across from somebody, that person has an inner fire burn. So that's kind of how I thought about those pieces. And gosh, thanks so much for giving me the opportunity to play and to experiment and to be part of this incredibly special moment.
Well, I think I speak for all of us when I say thank you for sharing so generously of yourself and of breathing that spirit into the performance that we could all get to share today. So on this Zoom call, we are also joined by another remarkable woman and collaborator. You heard her in this concert on the bombo in Santo, and you heard her as a soloist in the first piece in Still I Rise. So she is also our operations director, and she's been fielding some of the questions from you all. So I want to welcome Danielle Marrero, who's going to just share some of those things with us as well.
Hi, friends. Thanks so much for being here. It's been a pleasure listening to all of your wonderful comments. And I just have a few questions. The first one is for Carlos from Andy. They ask, I'm curious to know who some of your musical inspirations or favorite composers are.
I was just talking about this last week. It's the most difficult question for me. It's because I listen to so many things. I just like to randomly listen to something. In fact, I try to like stick with something and then I move on and listen to a lot of this and a lot of that. It's so difficult to find the one. What am I listening to right now? I don't remember. In fact, right now I listening to a lot of chamber music and Chris Aron. I'm listening to, oh my God, it's one of the difficult questions. I try to find inspiration in the randomness. It's one of the things that I kind of learn about myself, that I can jump between one composer and the other, and just be what's the word I want to use? I don't know. I found something that I can play with,
Mhm.
as a listener, as an audience, as a composer, as a you name it. So it's one of the difficult questions. A long time love for me has been Arvo Pärt, and it's one of those that I'm still trying to understand what's my connection. It's not that there is no connection, it's that it is such a connection that I'm still like, what is this? What I want to understand, what is this? Thank you for the question.
What a great question. I was just grinning to myself here because that question comes in a lot for all composers, right? And for many, it is that kind of answer, right? There's not one particular, but whenever Arvo Pärt comes on or is mentioned, he gets this shine in his eyes, and then we end up going on some kind of tangent about the mysticism and tintinnabulation style or whatever of Pärt's music. That has another hallmark of universality about it, right? It really speaks to us on a cellular level. And I think, the composers here too, Carlos and Stephanie and Ali, their music does that too. It gets right to the heart of the matter without pretense, and again, just, speaks to us.
Yeah, I love that too, that sometimes we don't know why we connect with a musician or a composer. Sometimes we can put our finger on what it is about them that inspires us, but sometimes we can't. And that's one of the beautiful things about music, I think. So we don't have to overthink everything. All right, our next question is for Carla from Chris. They ask, were you born with the talent to bring music to life through your fingers?
Oh, that's funny. My parents have created this myth, this story. I don't know if I believe them, that I was like doing this with my fingers when I arrived on the scene. But I will tell you that I saw a puppet bunny rabbit when I was 3 on Captain Kangaroo playing the piano, and I knew that that's what I needed to get involved with. So,
Wow.
So yeah, this has been growing inside of me for a long time now, very long time. Thanks for
I
that
love
question.
I love that you remember that moment from when you were that young. That's amazing.
Those moments, you know how there's certain people in your life you remember exactly when you first saw them or your first interaction, and yeah, I remembered that moment so clearly. Yeah,
that's wonderful. The next question is for Ryan, also from Chris. How did you decide on the flow or the order of the pieces?
Oh, well, what a great question. So I would share with everybody that my thinking on programming has evolved a lot in the 20-something years now that I've had the good fortune of being a musical director of various groups. And it used to be centered a lot around what music did I want to share with the audience. But I would say that in the last 5 or 6 years, that has shifted dramatically to my reflecting on what kind of journey I want the audience to have. What do we want to say in this particular concert? In the world of choral music right now, there's a lot of themes going on. Let's sing a concert all about food. Let's sing a concert all about love, all about snow, all about the color green, whatever. And those all have their place. And some of I've done that too. But the human experience is so much richer than that. So I like to think that through the course of a concert, we can have moments that make people kind of say, just a letting go of some kind, right? A moment of aha, where there's perhaps a new awareness brought into their consciousness, even if they don't know it at the time. And depending on the concert, also, some moments of levity, in some way, where it's a ha-ha kind of a moment. So aha, and aha, aha, ha, ha are important to me, but also to capture that wide arc of the experience. So for example, in this concert today, we had so many stories, right? And so much variety of energy, all under this umbrella of amplifying and sharing experiences primarily through the lens of those who identify as female. And so I knew that strength was a motive that needed to be there, of bravery, of courage, of selflessness, but also we didn't want to sweep under the rug the past, right? And the present. We were informed by the Me Too movement just a year or two ago, and those things are still going on today. The difficult conversations that need to be had, voter suppression, etc., so that we can have those things illuminated along the way. So it's not necessarily always easy, and I think that is important too, right? Because our music is relevant. Yes, it can absolutely have a quality of taking people out of their day-to-day lives and hopefully of providing them a space just for maybe quiet reflection. That's vitally important. But I think I want to capture more of that. And then specific again to today, just so everybody knows who's listening, I, Ryan Heller, am particularly passionate about breaking the choral idiom from closing our concerts, which tend to focus on the endings being a matter of tokenism. And by that, I mean typically African-American spirituals. That is typically the thing that people program at the end of a concert for a guaranteed standing ovation. And I think of that as rather cheap and demeaning, of course, of this art form. So you'll notice that we started our concert with Rosephanie Powell's Still I Rise, which is in a gospel spiritual style, rather than having that at the end. And that was intentional, to celebrate the energy of the event that was happening, and then be able to kind of ride the roller coaster along the way to the ending, which was all inspired by the text, right? That hopefully we all can be a bit inspired to rise up, to not let there be another season of silence, right? All of the text in that piece is so profound. It's not just pretty. And that's important to me too. So when people leave the experience, something is going on in their consciousness besides, oh, I enjoyed that last hour, right? But how might I be an agent of change to make this world a better place where nobody else is ever made to feel like the other? And our art, all of art really, but music in particular, and especially when people share their voices, really has the power to do that in a way that very few other things can. So that was a very long-winded way of explaining some of how I approach programming.
Yeah, that's great. And one of the things I love about singing for you, Ryan, is that you're always reminding us as the choir of what message do we want to leave the audience with. When we recorded that song, Rise Up, you said, don't forget, this is the last thing that the audience is going to hear. And that really changed, I think, the way we approached that recording, just like it would change the way we approach the last number of a live concert. And for those of you that don't know, the lyrics to that piece were inspired by the speeches and writings of Susan B. Anthony, which I think is just a wonderful way in a concert that is celebrating the 100th anniversary of the women receiving the right to vote in the US, that we're still using those words to inspire us to move forward in whatever it is that we are fighting for.
Hear, hear.
I think those are all of our questions. Thank you all for joining this wonderful talk, and thanks to the audience for sticking around and hearing everything that these wonderful people had to say.
Terrific, and thank you, Danielle. I do see that we're just a little past time, so we're going to wrap it up here. I want to say thank you to Carlos, to Carla, to Victoria, to Ali, to Liz, and to Stephanie for being here with me this afternoon as we wrap up and got to just share a little bit extra with you. We're all, itching for the time that we can be live together in person and share these moments of connection, kind of our theme of the day, with you. But we know that even on this medium, that connection still exists. We're still very powerfully tethered together. So thank you for sharing that and amplifying it with us today. And we all wish you our very best wishes for continued health and happiness and as much harmony as possible. So take care, my friends, and until we meet again.